Hey, how's it going, guys? Garcia here with another portfolio update. So in this video, I'll break down any moves that I made today, show the posts that I've shared on Twitter, and I'll give the shout outs at the end of the video. So today we are slightly down to $127,507.97 today. All right, so today you will notice that there's a lot less cash available, especially in the individual investing account. A couple days ago, I think it was like at around $7 grand, $8 grand. But there have been a lot of changes in the past couple of, just in the past day. So let's go to the small account first. In the traditional IRA, we're down 2.3% today. Down 0.2% in the past week. Up 19% in the past month. Up 43% in the past 3 months. And that is year-to-date all-time as well. So here, in this one, I have closed. You will see that the Palantir covered call is missing on this account. I bought to close it, and I will talk about that a little bit later on. Let's see. In the Roth IRA, we are down 3% today, up 2% in the past week, up 21.7% in the past month, up 27% in the last 3 months, up 33% year to date, and 32.7% past year and all time. So in this account, we're doing pretty well. The buying power has also gone down here, and that is because I bought some shares of TSLA, I bought shares of Palantir, and I bought shares of BITX in this account. And I also bought another call option on Celsius. So let's take a look at today's return on this account. So the covered call returned $270 on TSLA today. The long call on Celsius was down $75. Soundhound was down $39. TSLA was down $678. Palantir down $133, and BITX down $20 today. So this one, I doubled down on this play on Celsius. I think Celsius in the 50s is going to be a pretty solid bottom now. Like I really don't see it going much further, a lot further down. And I think their earnings are coming up too. So let me see. Yeah, their earnings are coming up in a couple of weeks. And for sentiment to be this bad, I think it's going to be an explosive move up. That's just me. I'm kind of looking at October 6th, and I was kind of looking at previous times in their history whenever they had those earnings on that specific date. Here, around August 4th, you'll see it was around the 40s, and just a couple of weeks later, it was in the 60s. Let's go back over here around August. It was in 32. And it peaked at around 36, but it did dip to the 20s and only to go back up into the 39s in December. So I think just like any stock, if sentiment is down and the stock has been moving lower going into earnings, I don't think it's going to take much for the stock to start going up after earnings. So because not a lot is getting priced in, let's see. And BITX, I bought a couple shares. I think it was up around here in the 35s, 36. So I figured, with Bitcoin is just going to keep, it's kind of starting a new leg upwards. And I think it's in a new bull trend. So I'm just going to be riding that wave. And who knows, maybe trim a little bit when Bitcoin gets to 80,000 or 90,000, and let the rest ride. So all right, and for the moves that I made here in the big account, we are down 0.6% today, up 0.7% in the past week, up 13.5% in the past month, up 43% in the last 3 months, up 47% year to date, up 19% in the past year, and up 16% in the all time. Okay, so here is where you'll notice that the buying power is pretty much all. The buying power is pretty much all back. Like there's no call options. There's no cash secured puts on this account currently. So right now, all of the buying power is completely free. So you notice there are no options here. And that is because I really wanted to just get rid of the covered calls on Palantir. So I think I shared about it on Twitter. So I shared about it on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and show you guys that in a little bit today. And here I'll show you some of the buys as well. Let's see. Individual orders, stocks. Yeah, so you can see I was busy buying the dip on Palantir. And I was buying like at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I was buying some of these shares. I bought 660 worth, 550, 700, 700, 600, 600. So just in the past couple of days, there's been quite a few different buys on this account. And I was able to exit. Well, no, I was able to exit the cash secured puts at a profit, but not the covered calls. I saw this morning's dip as my last chance to get out of these covered calls without it getting away from me. And it was just a decision that I was okay with. And I'll kind of talk about it a little bit more on the post. And I do want to get better at reminding you guys, if you're watching the video and you're enjoying it, please subscribe, hit the button right there so that way you can see more of my updates. I would really appreciate it. Okay. Oh yeah, so here's where I sold the cash secured puts in profit. Let's see. Oh, so here, after posting the update, Wendy Anderson from Palantir, she posted that they are now working with the State Department control for analytics and bureau for DT, meaningful work at hyper-relevant time in the world given geopolitical complexity. So here they are now officially partnering with the State Department. Here it is, the Department of State. And it's pretty exciting, the fact that each individual government entity and agency will have their own partnership with Palantir. So it's not just, partner, the Palantir just partners with the government in one contract. No, you're going to have all these different agencies having their own contracts with Palantir. So here's the Palantir turtle. Yeah, so Squirtle is now the Palantir turtle. Professor of ETFs. So it was a pretty green day yesterday, apparently, for him. And I figured, you know what? Same time tomorrow. I knew I had the matching Pepe to go with that. So what's awesome, and pretty incredible development, is that now the Palantir employees, starting with Wendy, Chad, and other employees, they're now calling it Pilly as well. So Pilly is just like the name that we've been calling it in the Discord. So it's pretty awesome for them to be to be calling it that as well. So PTFB stands for Pilly the fucking best. And here is my response to that. I found the best company ever. You better not say Pilly the fucking best and get into a fight. Let's see. Follow Joe Biden? No way. Okay, let's see. So here is where I was kind of explaining my logic and my reasoning behind closing the covered calls early. So I share the good, the bad, and the ugly of my portfolio. Today I closed the Palantir covered calls for a $2,380 loss. So far this year, around $10,000 has been made selling puts and calls. So my reasoning is covered calls will become more expensive heading into earnings, and one of my personal rules is to avoid earnings at all costs. So here, you'll see that here I placed that the options, it's totally empty. I have the shares. And here you'll have the covered calls here were the original that I sold to open. So I received around $1,300 in credit. That got it started off. So, you kind of use it as debits and credits. You start subtracting and adding, and you end up with your total amount that you basically lost or you gained. So here we're plus 1,300, right? Then I paid $350 to roll. So you subtract the 350 from the. So let's just say easy math. Let's just say 1,300 minus 300. We're at 1,000. So we're at 1,000 in the plus, but now you have to subtract 3,300 from that. So that leaves us with negative 2,000, and that's how I ended up with that negative $2,380 loss, is because that was the overall trade. It was in the negative. But from when I started selling those calls, Palantir was around 24, 25. So for Palantir to have shot up this high up, and for me to only be taking that type of loss before earnings, I feel a lot better about it. I was feeling a little nervous, still having covered calls open just before earnings, and I just really did not want Palantir to announce like a very big partnership right before earnings, causing these covered calls to go deep in the money, and me having to roll, and now I have covered calls going into earnings. And here is where I kind of talk about it a little bit, is why not just hold them through earnings? So Palantir blasted 30% after the Q4 earnings. So they blew up all the covered calls that people had, and they either had to roll all the way out to 2025, 2026, and they're still underwater on those shares probably, or they got assigned. And I want to avoid assignment. Getting assigned means that I would lose the shares and I would get paid for those shares, but now I would not be a shareholder of Palantir. So I want to avoid assignment. So, and why not, is because I want to accumulate as many shares as I possibly can. Question, then why sell covered calls at all? Because I'm stupid. I like the premium. I like buying the shares with the premium. And yes, it is a risk, like that I might have to give back some of the profits to ensure that I stay with the shares. Because traditional wheelers, they don't mind getting assigned, because they're not married to the stocks. They're not really in it to hold the shares for the long term. Okay, so let's see. On today's episode of Palantir Retail Shareholders Ask the Darndest Things, based off of that show, if you guys have heard of it, the kids, is it kids say the darndest things? I don't know, it's an old TV show. So here, Steven asks, when can we expect exponential growth? That's a good question. And then Jackie, oh my God, Jackie, I guess. Does Palantir plan on paying shareholders dividends? Basically boils down to when moon and when dividend. And it's just so bad. The fact that these questions are the top two. Come on, people. We could do better. All right. And here, another day, another dip, another 128 Palantir shares. So now my total is 4,066 between all three accounts. So here's showing some of the buys that I did on that account. And yeah, and that's the update for today. Oh, actually, what was the last trade that I did? I think it was this one. I usually am pinning the last trade that I did, so that when people are following the account on Twitter, they just get it like a quick snapshot of what was my last move. And let's see. Yeah, I asked. I'm starting to ask people to subscribe and stuff like that between segments. So I think that leaves us to the shoutouts. So thank you everyone here on this list for supporting the channel, and just watching and supporting. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.